Okay. Now your name is?
My name is Emily Worth. I'm the Water Program Director at Food and Water Watch.
Well, Emily, today we're in front of City Hall in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of this demonstration this morning?
Today, up to 1,000 people are gathering here at City Hall in Baltimore to make it clear that we want to stop the Cove Point LNG export facility that Dominion is trying to build in Calvert County, Maryland. We're outside where the Public Services Commission is meeting today to let them know that we want them to stop the approvals, the permits that Dominion needs to make this plant possible. We'll also be marching past Governor O'Malley's office to let him know that he should be a true national leader and support clean, sustainable energy sources and not allow an export facility that's only going to expand drilling and fracking for gas across Maryland and throughout the entire region. We know there are a myriad of public health and environmental problems that come with fracking, and we know to avoid climate change over the long run we need to stop drilling for fossil fuels and aggressively transition to renewable and sustainable energy sources. So today we're sending a clear message to Governor O'Malley, to senators in Maryland, and to the Public Services Commission that the people of Maryland don't want Cove Point and they should stop it now.
Now, Cove Point is over in Calvert County.
Yes.
Actually, the local Calvert County.
Calvert County, okay, that's good to know.
So what's there now? There's a facility there now, isn't it?
Well, the facility was set up for importing gas, and right now what they're seeking is the approval from the Department of Energy and the FERC, the agency that oversees this, to export U.S. fracked natural gas overseas to Asia and China, which we know will, like I said, increase drilling and fracking in Maryland and the surrounding region in Virginia, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, require the build out of pipelines, compressor stations, and other infrastructure that's needed to transport the gas, and will also increase prices for U.S. consumers. So really this benefits the oil and gas industry and their investors and harms the communities in Maryland and the surrounding region, as well as all U.S. consumers. And that's why we oppose this facility.
Now when you mention fracking, people think of horror stories so far.
Yeah.
Where have been the worst incidents?
Well, I think wherever hydrofracking has happened, there are instances of problems. We've seen many problems in Pennsylvania that my colleague here, Karen, could tell you more about next. Texas, a new report came out of Texas in the Eagle Ford Shale where they're actually fracking for oil that reported on the terrible air quality and the health problems that residents near this drilling and fracking are experiencing. There have been a swarm of 150 earthquakes in Oklahoma that are believed to be associated with the wastewater disposal associated with fracking. There was a huge explosion at a well in Pennsylvania last week. Wherever this technology goes, it's been a nightmare for the surrounding communities, and that's why we need to stop this extractive of fossil fuels and move on to renewable energy.
Anything else, Emily?
No, thank you so much for coming. I'm excited about today.
We will have rising pollution, we will have rising prices, and we will have rising tides. And in Maryland, with 3,000 miles of coastland, we can't have that kind of risk. We saw the impact up close and personal when Hurricane Sandy came through and a 5-foot tidal surge hit Crisfield on Maryland's eastern shore. Tangier and Smith Islands are evaporating every day in the middle of the rising tides in the Chesapeake. When the residents of Crisfield are begging for our help, when Smith and Tangier Island residents are having to move out of their homes because of the rising tides, how can we justify building a massive carbon polluting facility just across the bay from their front doors? Our heroes in the environmental movement, Bill McKibben, Dr. James Hansen, and Mike Tidwell, have told us for years that a failure to act on climate change will have deadly consequences. We're seeing these impacts right in front of our own eyes. Maryland, are you ready to take our stand today to say no to climate change impact of Cove Point? Let's also will not forget what Cove Point means to the progress, our hard-fought progress in Maryland to say no to fracking. For 3 long years, we've stood together protecting our environment, protecting our water, protecting our health and our local economies from the dangers of unregulated shale gas fracking. And when every other state has been rushing in to drill first and ask questions later to disastrous consequences, Maryland has said no. Cove Point will wipe out that progress. It would make Maryland an international sacrifice zone for fracked gas. We would see more fracked wells. We would see more pipelines, more compressor stations, more liquefiers, and increased tanker traffic in our bay. It will divide and pollute our communities. Is that what we want for our state? No!
Okay, Max, what do you think about today's rally?
Well, I'm very impressed at the turnout for this rally, and I really enjoyed the weather. I was in Knoxville, Tennessee in January when the storm hit, and we had to take our time getting out of the city. I was there for the sensing of the transformed out plowshares, which had to be stopped because of this freak storm. And we were on the phone with somebody who was traveling to Atlanta, Georgia that day. And she couldn't do it. She was driving 9 miles an hour. She left Knoxville and eventually got to Marietta, Georgia. She couldn't get into Atlanta because of this horrible, horrible storm. And anyone that tries to deny that we have climate chaos today they have their heads deep into the big muddy. It's so obvious to anyone that's observing the situation. You don't have to be a scientist to know that climate chaos is killing us. The Pentagon, some people aren't aware of this yet at this rally, but the Pentagon is committing ecocide. They have troops in 1,000 bases around the world. They use over 400,000 barrels of oil per hour. And I could go on with the statistics on what the Pentagon is doing. Here, we have a situation where we're going to be taking fracked gas, the environmental damage done by fracked gas that we don't produce, and we're going to send it through Maryland. And one of the things I'm handing out today is this proposed terminal, Cove Point, is 3 miles away from Calvert Cliffs, a nuclear plant. Imagine if there's some kind of blowout like what happened in Montreal. These trains are blowing up with oil on them. Who knows what's going to happen? Nobody can predict what environmental degradation is going to happen. So we have to work on prevention. That's the only solution. We can't build this plant. We can't use fracked gas. We just watched Gasland 2 the other day at the Home with Friends Meeting House, and that's a movie about the dangers of fracturing or fracking. And that's the second one that Josh Fox has done. And to see what's happening around the country, Wyoming, Texas, Pennsylvania, it's just astonishing. The idea that you can pump 573 chemicals into the ground, and then the amount of water that you're using, and anyone that's following the situation today knows water is a very precious resource. California is in the midst of a drought.
Serious drought.
Serious drought. So we have all of this going on, and so I'm so happy that people are out here today. I understand there's people here from New York, people from Pennsylvania, obviously from Maryland. We've got to take the risks of peace and stop this nonsense. So I'm proud to be here. I'm with the Physicians for Social Responsibility. We're one of the co-sponsoring groups, and this is one of the major issues we're working on: stopping fracturing, stopping Cove Point, and other environmental degradations.
Okay, thanks so much, Max.
It's a pleasure, Bill.
She doesn't know where she's going.
Cove Point!